Well, hello everybody, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody. It's Thanksgiving Eve. We are kicking off the holiday season, and I'm excited. I love this time of year for work-related reasons, and also for uh, just fun. It's great. It's a great time to enjoy family, and also just of course, the fall, the leaves. I love that kind of stuff, and football and all that kind of stuff. So I love it. I love this time of year, and so I hope you do too. And so, for anybody that's traveling, for anybody that's even staying in town, but everybody that's whatever you guys are doing, I hope you guys are having a great Thanksgiving Eve and Thanksgiving. And so, I thought today we would do a kind of an overview of buying houses in the holidays, because I do know that there are a lot of people that try not to do this, and I think that can be a mistake. And obviously, there's a lot of moving parts involved with buying a house during the holidays. But in reality, if you find yourself in a spot where people don't want to do what you're doing, you're probably getting a good value to do what you're doing. You're exchanging something for something else. You are doing the thing that no one wants to do to get something in return that is very hard to get, right? And so I love being able to take kind of zig when people zag. And that's kind of what I see buying in the holidays as sort of what you're doing. And so people are very apprehensive to buying during a time that's not necessarily convenient for them, and that is again why I like the idea of it too. Because if you can figure it out, if you do the uncomfortable or the not ideal process in when you move and when you buy, well, that the difficulty might come early, but once you're in, you will have taken advantage of value that you can enjoy for however long you're in your house, and however long you live in the area. So I just think this is a great opportunity. So we're going to be talking about that today. How to buy a house in the holidays, and what to look out for. What's the best way to strategize to make this happen? So, and we'll talk about that. But first, if you got any questions, you can drop a comment below. I love to hear about where you guys are from, and I would love to hear any feedback. If you got anything you want to talk about, let me know. This will be a pretty relaxed live session, and just kind of enjoying the holidays and enjoying talking to all you fun people. So if you have questions, drop them in the comments, and I'd love to hear where you're coming from. But as we go through here, I'm going to go through a few steps that I like to consider when I am suggesting to somebody to buy a house in the holidays, what to do, what not to do. Because my wife and I, we bought a house in the holidays. So we moved 3 years ago. We bought, and it was end of November. It was right about a week ago. 3 years ago, we got our house and ended up closing about 4 days before Christmas. And so we're doing exactly what I'm talking about here. And so the questions, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I'm going to go through these steps here. And so number one is be ready to act. So what does that mean? It means that you can't buy a house in the holidays passively. The important thing here is to know that when you're buying in the holidays, there's a good chance that you're moving in an inopportune time. Like if you had your druthers about you, you might want to buy in the summertime, or after school if you have a family with kids. It's times where you've got, it's more convenient. You want to maybe spend more time during the holidays with other people. You don't want to be moving. So being ready to act means I am mentally prepared to commit my time towards something that I'm not necessarily comfortable with, but I will do this to make it if the right deal comes along, because it could very well happen. So be ready to act. Don't come through the holiday season passively, because what often happens is if you're not ready and you go through, it's like December the 7th, and you find this house that you like, and you weren't like, oh, I was thinking about moving. I'm not really sure if I should. Then I find this house. I'm ready to do it. Well, Well, I want to do it. Well, a lot of times what happens is all the things that you are planning or feel like you have to do in order to move all feel like they're colliding or creating a log jam in your head. And so it's like can feel very overwhelming. So as those steps can stack up, it can feel like, well, I just don't want to deal with this right now. I'm not going to make an offer on that house. It's just too much right now. I've got people coming over in 3 days, got, all that prep stuff. So, and that's something that will make the ability or the desire to buy during the holidays when the right house comes, it kind of diffuses the flame, if you will, and you end up not doing it. And there goes the opportunity. So, and that's one of the things that often happens is people don't want to move because of those two things. So being ready to act is very important for like what I'm talking about here. Is be ready. That's number one. So number two is, and this is kind of an emotional back and forth here. So number two is be willing to be aggressive, but keep options open. So it's kind of almost the opposite from what I'm talking about before as far as keeping options open. You don't want to get so fixated on a house that you're being so aggressive that you lose I'd say not get super and like not lose your mind, but not mind. But I mean, like you want to get so distracted on fixated on one house that you just kind of throw caution to the wind. And because sometimes what happens is when people do want to move in the holidays, they think to themselves, I need to do it within a certain time frame because that's when I'm off. So 3 or 4 weeks in December, as opposed to the whole summertime for a good example. Well, people will feel like, well, if I need to buy in December and I see the house that I think I like, I want to be aggressive. But then if you think you want to be too aggressive, you're kind of almost paying for the feeling of of solving the problem. Does that make sense? Or solving the moving situation. Now I just want to get it over with. I'm going to be aggressive and get this house and get it done. Whereas if you keep your options open, as far as keep your time frame open, you're not succumb to having to overpay for the thing that you really kind of were being patient for the right house to come at the right price. You kind of might just thrown it away just to overpay and just get the stage of this life process over with, So be willing to be aggressive because because of the market the way it is now, it's very common for multiple offers to still come. I mean, I'm still like this weekend, I work with, there are several people I've been helping to help people buy houses, multiple offers in, over a half. And it's still happening. Remember, it's not like what it was, but multiple offers can mean 10, it can mean 2. And people are getting still 2, 3 offers sometimes. And it's normal. So again, be mentally prepared to be aggressive. But again, don't throw caution to the wind because we don't have to do that in this market right now. It's not like the way it was. But again, be ready. So when I say keep your options open, it's not just keep your options open for houses. I'm talking about also options open for time frame. It's really important to, when you're moving or buying a house during the holidays, to also be okay with not doing it. And I was like, well, that doesn't make sense. What's the whole point? The point is that the best way to get the right deal or get the right value is to not feel like you have to have it, right? If you feel like you have to have it, then you'll make decisions that you wish you kind of regret having made those decisions previously, right? So you don't want to do that. It's very imperative to keep not just, I guess, options open, but have your mindset as loose and flexible as possible. So it's not an emotional reaction to buy a specific house. That's not what you want. The whole point of moving and buying a house in the holidays is to not do that, is to be ready for the deal, if you will. And the more emotionally invested you are in having to do something within a certain time period, the less chance you'll have to make a smart decision. And I strongly suggest keep the options open. Okay, time frame, what does that mean? In my experience, the people I work with, it could be anywhere. Someone might find their house in a week. It could take 5, 6, 7 days. It could take the first house they see. It could take a month. You see a wide range of lengths of time for how long someone might take to find their house. So my point here is that I would not focus on like, well, I've got 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I need to find it within those 2 or 3 weeks. I would suggest keep your, either if it's a rent situation, keep it flexible. If it's your current house situation, living situation, keep it flexible as much as possible. I know this isn't possible for everybody, but if you're choosing to move in the holidays, choose also, if you can, to keep the other ancillary moving factors as loose as possible, because you don't know when the house is going to come up, and it might not come during the holiday season. So if you keep it loose, keep it between maybe November and January, late October, early February, keep that window open. You'll still be able to maximize on your opportunity on getting the right house, and you're not pigeonholing yourself into a specific house because you chose to move at a specific time and now you're stuck. Keep those time frames open. And that's a very, very common, or I say that to people in general. The people that call me, that are needing to find a place to buy, and their lease expires in 30 days. We've got a unique discussion to have, because you don't have much time. And if they're not, the landlord's not flexible with your rent, you're giving yourself a very narrow window. And that's kind of what you're doing if you hey, I've got to buy in the middle of December or else. You're creating that same situation. It's going to be more of an emotional reaction. You're going to make these different decisions, different ways. And so I would strongly suggest not doing that for that reason. Keep those options open. Keep the time frames open. So next, say you find your house and you love it. Next question is, what do the sellers need? Find out what they need. Obviously, you want to help meet their needs. But when you think about people buying in the holidays, think about the ones that are selling in the holidays. Now, it's not everybody, but a lot of people that sell during the holidays might be selling because they have to, not because they want to. If they want to, they may have decided to postpone it until April or May or March, when they're in that springtime range. But if you're doing it, let's see, in the holidays, there's a good chance that there's some specific reason that they're not able to wait for an extra few months to get it in the right time. Maybe they have to move out, job relocation. Something happened, unique circumstances that went on with their life. Something could happen that caused them to have to sell the house. And so with those unique circumstances come unique needs. And so finding out what they need, and a lot of times it's a closing date. They might need to close on a specific day or at a specific time. And if you can find out that, or find out very specific things, maybe they want something in the house that you can leave for them. I'm making this up. They're very unique scenarios, but people have needs that are unique to them, and they could be very specific to the events that have just transpired that cause them to have to sell to begin with. And so if you can find out what those needs are, you can meet them and get the deal that you want, or that you want even more than you thought you could. Maybe you can get a better discount on the house, something in exchange for what you can meet their needs with. And again, keep in mind, there aren't many houses being listed right now. And because of that, there are still multiple offer situations. And it's wintertime, or about to be wintertime. It's not the prime time to find houses, but because there are so few, it makes it still a competitive, relatively speaking, a competitive dynamic or market. And so with that, it's very important to find out the things that they need. And you'll be surprised sometimes what people are willing to give you if you give them what they're looking for. And I think this is the same even for the rest of the year, but specifically in the holidays. Again, no one's choosing to necessarily move in a time that's inopportune to them. Now, let's just say you did not find the house you wanted in the holiday time period between November and December. Well, another thing to keep in mind is that it's kind of knowing what happens in the market once Christmas ends and New Year's, the calendar turns, is 2024 in this case. What happens with the market? I can almost every year I can almost time it. The day of New Year's, it's almost like people think, I've got a new year, new changes, new stuff. I'll get calls, people wanting to buy and get ready to buy on January 1st. So it's like people wake up, they've switched into 2024 mode, and that's when the people start calling to look to buy houses. However, the people that start looking January 1st are people that are usually not ready to buy for at least 2-3 weeks or 4 weeks. So if that's being said, the holiday time period, that holiday window that you have between like November and December, late December, can be enlarged maybe till the early middle January, to where you're already ahead of the punch, or you're ahead of the game, I guess. You beat people to the punch. What's the phrase? Beating people to the punch, because those people that are starting in January, you're already ahead of them. You know what you want, and so some people that are going to be listing their houses are going to be listing after the holidays. And so the people that list after the holidays, if they list week 1, week 2-ish of January, you're already ready to go. That right house that comes up, boom, you see it, boom, you beat the rest of the market that's new into the market in 2024. They're like, oh, let's just get this going. We've got time. Well, you've already been doing your research and you know what you want. So strongly suggest to keep that window open into January to beat other people to the punch. Because I will tell you that listings definitely start increasing as you get into January and into February and really into the springtime. The further you get into the springtime is when the listings start going up. So I've seen that the prices, just bringing this back to current time here, I've seen prices start to drop. How does that coincide with multiple offers? Well, not every house is getting multiple offers, number one. Number two is there are a lot of different types of sellers in the market right now. There are people that are selling their houses and they're in a unique like location, and that's what helps with demand. But also there are times where they're pricing their houses pretty reasonably to sell. And meaning a house that may have appraised for $500,000 in July, they might be selling it for 480 now to kind of get things moving. And so that's again where you can find some value, because that house again will resell possibly at 490, 500 into January, into February. It's going to go back up again. And I'm not saying it's that much of an up and down, but my point here is that you'll find people, nooks in the market, unique situations where people are trying to sell because they have to, and they're trying to offset the lack of demand for the time period, and they'll price it low enough to where it creates multiple offers as you go, because it's like the one house priced at the right time, or priced at the right price and in the right location to create that demand. So that can happen even in the holidays. On the flip side, you'll see some people that will try and list their houses too high. So a house that may have appraised for 500,000 in June or July, they might still get it appraised. It could probably appraise for 500 or maybe 510, but they might think, well, I can probably do 515, 520. In this market, you can't overprice your house and expect it to go right away. Now, there would be unique scenarios where you might be able to still sell it, and if you wait long enough, it can happen. But people are usually not ready to wait that long, and so reason being is if you price it too high, you'll start chasing the market down, and that happens a lot. And so you'll find house price reductions, and that's what affects. Okay, the prices are dropping some, probably because the market has stabilized or gotten down, and that's going to affect the people that need to sell in the middle of December. They're going to have to probably maybe take a loss relative to what they could have maybe sold for in July. The demand's much lower, So not every house is the same. I will say that another thing about, if you look at the prices, median sales prices in the area always will drop in December, in November, December, January. They do drop. And with that drop, you start asking yourself the question, why are they dropping? Okay. But two is, what types of houses are being sold to make the median sales price drop? Well, a lot of times you'll find that people that sell their houses that have like maybe 2, 3, 4 kids, 4 or 5 bedrooms, those types of houses are often sold more frequently in the springtime and the summertime. Why? Because they're timing it around school. They're listing it in maybe March, April, May, June, and they want to close during the time that is most opportune to them. Understandably so. So that happens. But what happens in maybe September, October, November, December? Well, people either that, again, have to sell, or people that are selling houses that they don't live in. And so what often happens is you'll find a lot of houses that are vacant that are being sold. A lot of those are often maybe rental properties that are being sold, or houses that are not, that large families don't live in, point being, because the moving during the school year is not always ideal. So what happens? There are more frequent houses that are rentals that are lower priced. So if those types of houses are being sold more frequently in proportion in the fall or in the wintertime, well, that means that the house median sales price in the area often will drop just because of that. You'll have more. So median is the middle, right? So if you have 11 houses that have sold, what's the middle? The number 6 one. That's the median sales price. Well, if that the median can go down because the amount of houses that have sold in a different lower sales price range is more prevalent in October, November, December. So that's also part of what makes a house price range drop too. So it's not just, oh, demand's dropping, so now all the houses are going to drop. It's not. It's much more of a dynamic market than just like a stock market buying and selling a specific share of a stock, right? Because with that, you're just buying the unit, and the unit goes up and down all the time. But with a house, each house is unique. Each house is, it's unique. But if you look at data that aggregates information based on the houses and the market, you can only take that information and draw certain conclusions from it. And so it's not always okay, the market dropped, therefore all the houses are now going to be 5% off. It's not a 5% sale. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So people, I think, often think in that mindset a lot, and then get frustrated when the house that they love, they can't get for the discount that they thought they could get. So like they wait for, 2-3 months for the right house comes, and they're like, I want to wait until the market drops or market sags. And so they wait into the holiday time period. They find the house. Okay, I'm ready to go. Well, why all of a sudden are there more people making offers on the house I want? Why all of a sudden is the demand high for my house I want? Well, if you're keeping your target type of house narrow and you want specific boxes checked, good chances are that you are not the only one that wants those specific things, which means that people are waiting for the same thing you are. And in a market where there aren't a lot of houses on the market in general, when that house comes up, you're not the only one. And so that's back to being aggressive, being willing to be aggressive. But if you're okay with keeping your options open, you don't have to throw caution to the wind. But people might study the market so much that they're making decisions based on market data, and the market itself for this specific house might be different than everything else that they've researched. And they look at the news stories online, they look at, watch the news, they're hearing things across the, national market's doing this, but the national market and 111 Main Street in Norfolk are two vastly different things. And so keep that in mind as you're walking into any specific purchase, because you can lose the house that you love because you're focusing too much on data that tells you to do something specific. And that's why it's a very important, and I'm a real estate agent, but I love what I do, and get you a good real estate agent that can give you guidance on this stuff, because it's just because you're in the market doesn't mean you know the dynamics. It's very important to know the individual unique dynamics for a neighborhood, for a type of house. Start forecasting what other things can go wrong with this house. What do you have to prepare for to buy this house? If you buy it at this certain price, what are you expecting now in 6, 9, 12 months down the road for repairs or for any surprises that you need to be aware of? All that kind of stuff. That's where just doing a Google search to figure out what to do, it doesn't always help with a specific, unique example of a house that you're looking at right now, So, I think that's in a nutshell the process for buying in the holidays. I would say just enjoy it, because this is your holiday choice for something to do. Then make sure you enjoy it because you're going to be spending time looking at houses, and you want to enjoy it during the holidays with your family. Just have a mindset of, hey, I'm choosing to do this. I'm loving it, right? So if you have any questions about what I'm talking about right now, or anything in general, wherever you're living, feel free to comment there below. If you've got questions you'd like me to answer now, I'm happy to do that. It's Thanksgiving Eve. I'm loving it. It usually means Black Friday sales for me, because I love Black Friday sales. But this year, and actually the last probably 5 to 7 years, probably not happening. I just getting in line, and I used to get in line 5 in the afternoon on Thanksgiving night. Yes. And I would stay overnight at the Best Buy in Greenbrier. If you know Chesapeake, if you know the area, I would sit in line at Greenbrier, the Greenbrier Best Buy. And from 5:30 in the evening till They open at 5 in the morning, 12 hours, get a bunch of friends of mine, and we would just stay in line. I get about 8th or 9th in line. Next to there's a concrete pad in front of the Best Buy. There's some plants that are between the Best Buy building and the street. We would put our tents, we'd pitch tents between the bushes and the building, and we'd have our own little corner there. And so we'd wait all night, and then we'd go in there, and it was oh man, it was an awesome experience. I loved Black Friday, but now it's not really the same anymore. Online's kind of taken over, and it's a pastime that I loved and I miss, but anyway, it means it's more time spent with probably more family, which is always best, right? So tonight, Thanksgiving Eve, Thanksgiving Day, gonna be nice, relaxing. I hope everybody else enjoys their Thanksgiving holiday. If you have any questions, drop them below. I can still stay here a little bit to answer some questions, but if not, please enjoy your Thanksgiving. I will, and I will be constantly posting videos through the holidays. And so if you have any thoughts about what things you need answers to, let me know, and I can also answer them in the following videos. But between now and the end of December, I'll be still pumping out the videos. So yeah, and that's it. So enjoy your Thanksgiving, and I will see you on the next video.